I was 7.5, saw my parents like physically try to kill each other. And that instilled this incredible sense of fear and lack of safety in my system. And how I've navigated life for the first 30 plus years was to learn everything possible, to understand everything possible so that I can control the situation, the variables, so that I would feel safe. Once I realized all of that was just really for a safety mechanism.
Yeah.
And once I realized that we are all interconnected, that there actually is nothing to fear. Granted, that realization and the embodiment of that has been an ongoing process. I don't want to claim that I've like mastered that. But what I will say that in this ongoing process, I've shifted from, again, it goes back to there's something to fix and there's something not there yet, or I need to get more capabilities and more, to simply, this sounds so cliche, but the vibration, if I were to put into words, is to be an empty vessel for God. I really, in the last 2 years, have let go of almost all desires and goals. But in the last 2 years, I've achieved more than the previous 10 years combined. It's such a fascinating thing. And I can share all kinds of stories of the most incredible contributions I've been able to make that I cannot even dream of 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And all of it came from literally being goalless, just like completely being empty and being the dumbest. Like, I forget things all the time now. I used to take so many nootropics to induce photographic memory. There was a phase in my life I was listening to an audiobook and reading a book at the same time because I was stacking nootropics to be able to do that.
Wow.
Yeah. And now I'm like,
sounds kind of fun.
It was.
Yeah.
Right? I pushed the limits of the intellect.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I'm going to try to be as stupid as possible. Right? To have no mind. And just like whatever comes, just do it. So you're just meeting me in this phase of my life.
Sure.
Just to give everyone context.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't preclude the work and the stacking that was done before that to true. That's a very sacred phrase, to be an empty vessel for God. That holds a lot of responsibility, but it doesn't mean that you are responsible for someone else's healing. What do you feel responsible for if it's not for others' healing?
Yeah. When I hold these gatherings, right, and people will have a call with me prior, and they're so used to your traditional marketing sales process, right, which is like, what's in it for me?
Yeah, gather all their pain points and then use their pain points against that. That's the traditional sales script.
Yeah, I mean, there's an event right now happening where it's all about how to do that.
Yeah,
and my message, right, when people ask me like, what are they getting out of it? I go, I don't know. Because I don't have any intentions to up-level you, to expand you, or to heal you. Because as soon as I have that intention, that means you're not there, you're wounded, and you're contracted. And I share with them that I'm just gathering people I love and care about. I'm going to get to be all of myself and just fully express. Who knows what's going to happen? And they go, okay, I'm coming.
That's a non-traditional sales call.
And I had a hint 2 years ago that people are ready for this. And now I'm experiencing it repeatedly. People are ready for this. They get it. What I'm really offering is a energetic container of wholeness. And people are like, yes, without saying you need it. Right? I didn't say this is a wholeness container and you're not whole. If you come in, you'll be whole. I'm speaking wholeness, which is you're perfect. I'm perfect. I'm just going to play and be all of me. And that's where you're coming into experience.
I just had a download from a previous conversation just this week with Alison Armstrong. And we were talking about the stages of maturation that men go through. And she said that for a very small percentage of the population, a king can actually become an elder. But you'll know they're an elder because they don't feel responsible for their students' healing. They don't feel responsible for their students' process. But they'll always meet the question from the student with another curious question. Almost like, Mr. Miyagi, right? It's kind of that same thing. And it can be frustrating to the student, but like to really be in the presence of an elder is such a sacred, powerful thing. But it's so interesting because the student isn't always ready to receive what the elder's questions are. Have you experienced this as a student or an elder before, this dynamic?
For sure.
How so?
Well, I've had the opportunity to sit in front of some incredible elders, right? These, they're considered living saints in like Hindu, sort of religion / philosophy. And when we ask them questions, for sure, the answer is never just the answer.
They're not just going to give you the answer.
No,
they're not going to make it that easy.
A story that contains infinitely other questions and answers within the story.
Yeah,
for sure. So I've been on the receiving end of that. And I remember about a year and a half ago at one of the experiences I was running, someone actually jokingly in a kind way said, for the love of God, Stephen, can you actually just answer the question?
Yeah.
So I was told by Spirit 7 years ago to minimize direct teachings, but to offer containers of teachings. And so I've been really working on that, right? Which is offering context for people to explore, right? Give them a room and be like, go play in this room versus sit down, stand up, take 3 steps to the left, right? Because I believe that takes people's sovereignty away. So I've been really trying to sort of work on that in my sort of speakings. So,
yeah. Language seems to be a really big part of you as a human. Like there's the 6 words you don't mention. You committed to that for a decade. Yeah. And I'm noticing more and more and more every day, Stephen, the power of language. It is just, it's a prayer, it's a spell, like just being in your presence. We're osmotically learning from each other. Yeah. We're osmotically receiving and giving light, information at the same time. Yeah. That's why I love podcasting. It's so cool. It's so fun. Yet, yes, and if someone has had their parents speak to them in a certain way that encoded their reality, it can be almost like turning a battleship. It doesn't have to be. I'm not saying it has to be that hard. But it can be many times like turning a battleship. Is there a way that you work with people without having to directly tell them, sit down, stand up, that can turn that internal battleship for them when it comes to language? Because language is so powerful, and it's a paradox. Language is not spoken about enough. It's really not. It's what all the Napoleon Hill and Wallace Wattles and all the great teachers, I guess you could say, of the early 1900s, like they were very focused on language. Same thing with Bob Proctor. Love Bob Proctor. They all had really good things to share, but it's up to the student, it's up to the human being if they want to choose that evolution or not. How do you work with language in a way without being so directive and moving somebody to turn that battleship? It's a battleship they don't even know is there.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that I offer is to cherish the density and the contraction in the programming that they were experiencing when they were young that kept them contained.
To cherish it,
first and foremost. Because, right, it's pendulum. Let's say if we pull the pendulum 9 out of 10, 9 units to one side of contained, boxed in, non-spiritual, controlled language. At some point, when you let go of that, what's going to happen? It gets to swing 9 units to the other side. So I think the first step is to thank your parents, thank those that are in control, thank whoever created the industrial complexes that we're in. Yeah. Thank them, because they allow that pendulum to be pulled so far to one side. You have all that kinetic and potential energy to be released to go to the other side, right? Because you're not going to really appreciate and be like in such bliss and joy when you start to use language of freedom if you weren't so contracted. Yeah. So that's the first and foremost, is to love it, because
so good.
Most people are still coming from, that was so awful, how they're trying to control us and it's bad. No, we honor it, because everything at some point is God. God orchestrated that. So why would we not love that? So first and foremost, love it. And then from that love, it goes back to, you just, with the greatest joy, love this ride of like, we get to use language of the expressions of freedom and all that stuff.
Yeah. So, that's so good.
Yeah.